Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome to all our online audience. This is a fantastic business we have here. People buy tickets and then they don't join. So we get the money and we don't have the expenses. I don't know if this sounds like Eskom or Transnet, where you get paid but you don't deliver. I'm not saying any of those things, but we've got a fantastic business model here. We really, we do have this morning we're averaging 150 to 180 people online, just so that you also speak to other industry experts and senior people that are too busy to be here. We welcome you all back after tea. This morning's session takes us to a part of I'm sure in time, as the program is under pressure, I can fantasize about a time when I don't need to have neither Eskom nor Transnet on my program. And that's not because of how I feel about Eskom or Transnet, but things will be working. It just works. It's there, it works, and therefore we as the mining industry can focus on how do we create value for our shareholders. Obviously, that's not where we are today. Where we are today is with two critical state-owned enterprises that are busy recovering from near-death experiences. And so I especially appreciate the boldness with which the leadership of these two organizations come to this platform to speak publicly about the progress. As Michelle reminds me, she doesn't need to come here to speak to her customers. She speaks to her customers, of course, all the time. And I know for a fact that the chair of Eskom will say, and Dan will affirm, that they speak to their customers directly. What is useful for us as an industry and as stakeholders is to see these conversations in public. So we know, we could sense yesterday from Pumi that there's a good working relationship with Transnet. But it's still very useful for us to engage with Transnet in a platform like this. You put your questions. The idiotic ones about does Eskom employ too many people, I filter out. Even I'm tired of some of those questions. We won't go there. We'll go to the crux of the issues that face the Eskoms and the Transnets and the things that are being done to fix it so that our economy can actually start to be a growing economy, creating jobs for all South Africans. So thank you very much. I have the privilege of starting the conversation with Dr. Mteto Nyati, who needs no introduction. He was fortunately has been the chair of Eskom for quite a bit. He was the continuity behind the anti-corruption director to the engineer, Dan. But let me hand over to you. Why don't you bring us up to speed? Where do you think Eskom is on this journey to be in the background, supplying cheap, affordable, sustainable power again?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having us. Just like you do not want to have us on your program, we also would be happy if we were not invited to our programs.
So we are both reluctant participants, okay?
Exactly. So don't worry about it. And I think we're getting to a point where you won't be needing to be bringing us here. But for me, I would like to start maybe all the way back to 3 years ago when this board was appointed. We were facing a massive crisis as a country, and I don't even have to remind you that because we all can feel it when Eskom is not working. So we remember what was happening during that time. And one of the key points, if I remember correctly, then that triggered the president to move with speed, he was actually overseas on this trip, and he was being hosted by the Queen. And South Africans were kind of like, and we're having stage, I don't know what, load shedding here. And South Africans were like, why are you gallivanting out there when we are having such a huge problem here in South Africa, please come back. So he came back. One of the first things that he did together with Pravin Gordon was put together a board. And that board, very interestingly, none of us were asked, which political party do you belong to? No. All of the people that were invited on that board, none of them had raised their hands and said, I want to be sitting on a state-owned enterprise board, I'm available. No, we were busy doing our own things, and we would have been happy if people had not even called on us, right? So we have people that were chosen because of their experience, because of their capabilities, their track record. And it was a great board where you've got people like Dr. Mtombeni here, who is really a specialist when it comes to sustainable energy. And we've got people who understand culture, organizational culture, because the problems of Eskom were largely people-related problems. Remember, I was listening to Mike talking about the soft and the hard, and he's right, actually. Most of the problems were people-related. And we've got people that come in who understand corporate finance, part of this board. In any case, so we made a decision that we're going to be a board that is going to be an engaged board. We throw ourselves in, got to understand what the issues were, we identify what were the systemic issues, and we put together a plan to execute those. One of the 9 systemic issues was really about the unreliability of the fleet. But that's just one. There are many other things. The fact that we had a weak balance sheet, that was another huge problem. The fact that we're still running around with a business model that was outdated, where we needed to unbundle ourselves, that was one of the key issues, right? So that's where we were, and we set ourselves a very clear targets on what needs to be done by when, and short accountability. Where we are now, we're sitting with energy availability factor touching 70%, coming from about 48%, and that's not a miracle. I keep hearing people, oh, it's a miracle, it's a miracle. It's not a miracle, because if we keep saying it's a miracle, we're going to, actually, we're not going to be able to learn. What is it that was done? We think that it's like some divine intervention came and made this change, which in reality it was not. It was people being very focused, disciplined execution of a plan, holding people accountable, pushing back at some of the intervention or people trying to come in and influence Eskom in particular ways, having proper leadership that has got both the head and the heart, which is really what was required in that environment. So where we are now, we're very stable. On many days, we've got excess energy. That's really where we want to be. The dense problem now is to go and find new revenue sources that is going to help us during these times when, in particular during the day, when we've got this excess energy. And so that's where we are now. And we are also putting a lot of focus on moving into green. Maybe let me not say green, moving into clean energy, because we feel that there's a lot of runway when it comes to coal, but we need to make sure that we minimize and reduce or eliminate the pollution linked to coal. So that's where we are.
Thank you. Can I just quickly expand on the theme of cleaner?
Yes.
Because I test all the coal CEOs that was on in the morning, and you were here for Mike's session at least. Are we doing enough as the coal industry in that space? Should we be doing more? Because it sounds to me the coal industry says, but Eskom should just clean up, the power stations. But it is a value chain.
It is.
Just your thoughts on that. Who should do what so that we can continue to burn coal because we have to, but it is cleaner?
Look, I would think if I was someone who was in the mining space and having a coal asset, it would be in my interest to figure out how to make my product clean. So I would invest in that R&D to try and figure out that piece. Also, us as Eskom, when you look at the different sources or mix of energy, we know that one of the cheapest form of energy for us is coal. So it is in our interest to find ways and means of making the coal clean. So we are spending, our R&D efforts now are focusing almost like majority, focusing largely in that space. Because we do not want to be running and being here, so we've got this great company that is green, but we've got communities that are devastated. They are, they are dead because the whole economic activity is revolved around a mine and also a power station. But because now we've moved away from this, from coal, we have made those communities to, I don't know, where will they ever get jobs? So it is in our interest to figure this thing out, and that's where we are putting a lot of focus.
And it's not hard to argue it's a national imperative. It's a country challenge. It's not for the coal miners. It's not for Eskom. It's for all of us.
Yeah, for us, for example, thinking about the flue gas that's coming out, there is so much that you can do with that and convert it into useful products like fertilizer, for example. So those are the things that we are busy thinking about.
We're going to get hundreds of questions about the corruption. I want to go there, but not through the questions. There was a, we all thought, okay, things are going to change at Eskom, but it was a corruption, anti-corruption narrative. Let's say the Andre de Ruyter narrative. We don't hear about corruption anymore. Is that because you guys have stopped caring about it, or is that because you are fixing lots of things, including corruption? Just give us the corruption narrative that you stand for at Eskom.
Remember, I said we identified 9 systemic issues in Eskom. One of them was really linked to the unreliability of the plant. One of them was an organizational culture that was dysfunctional. That was one of the problems. Then the other one was corruption and criminality.
One of 9.
One of the 9 was that.
Yeah.
So it is not something that we took our eyes off. It is something that we focus on it a lot. We put together the structures that are helping us to be able to identify where the problems are. It's one thing to sit and tell the whole world that, hey, the employees of Eskom are corrupt, but we all know that that's bullshit, right? I mean, there's no such a thing, that all employees of a company are corrupt. We know that, in fact, the majority of employees are honest people. But within that, within all of that, there will be those people that are doing wrong things. The question is, who are those people? And first try and find out who they are. So through the use of and partnering with a number of technology companies and some of the audit firms, they helped us to narrow it down to using technology, using AI, and then we're starting to work on, okay, let's move from saying that it's highly probable that these are the people to saying it is actually Bernard, it is him, and we do something.
You see, he's doing it to me again. I just want to tell you the little anecdote. At the previous conference, he's the guy who says, this BS, your initial stands for bullshit. So I then had to change the BS parameter to zero bullshit parameter. So you see, this man keeps on nailing me as the bullshitter and the corrupt guy.
So we've done a lot, working with, for example, the police have got a permanent office. Some of the they've got teams of people sitting with us, working with us. We are working with SIU. Yes, we may not be, but almost every week there is a story of someone in Eskom has been arrested, have been fired, have been always.
So it's an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing process. Yeah. Unfortunately, when it comes to corruption, it's not going to be an overnight thing.
And it's not
It's a culture thing.
Yeah.
So we have to stay on it, and we're staying on it. It starts with having the right leaders, having the right tone from the top, and then having people being held accountable. under Dan's office. In his office, he set up what is called a PMO that makes sure that these cases are addressed and addressed quickly. Because one of the things that you do not want is when people start to give us information, but they don't see the results linked to, hey, I've shared this thing, what have you done? So to speed things up, we've set up this the office in Dan's office that is driving and executing this thing. So we are doing quite a lot in that space. And yeah, we're doing quite a lot.
So when I speak with Dan, and I've had the privilege of meeting the minister, I mean, it's almost like the two of them say the same thing. They say it's actually easy because engineers speak to an engineer, speak to an engineer. Now, you're the engineer in the middle. Your minister's an engineer, you're an engineer, Dan's an engineer. I mean, and that clearly has created an approach. Is that holistic enough? So you've got 9 parameters. It's not only about fixing the equipment, it's the people. Just talk me through this engineering approach.
If we analyze it and think that that is the answer, we would be wrong. Because the problems are way beyond the engineering. You really need to have leaders that are all-rounded. Understand understand governance, understand people side of things, and understand that culture. Culture will eat strategy for breakfast. That's what they say. And how do I use the culture to or change the culture so that I can have the kind of outcomes that I'm looking for? That's not an engineering way of thinking, at least the ones that I know. So yeah, when it comes to the balance sheet that is really not in a good space, how do I handle these issues? And so if you are thinking our analysis say it's the engineer, it helps. It helps when you have a communication line where we do not have to keep repeating ourselves, when someone is out there. Because one of the key things that we said to the president as the board, as we're coming in, we said we need to speak with one voice. When a minister is talking about Eskom out there, it must be aligned with what we are saying, And when the different ministers in the cabinet are speaking about Eskom, they must say one thing. It must not be one is saying this and another saying that. We need to have the courage to have those conversations with the president, So that is not necessarily an engineering thing. It's just,
And on this journey of management, getting to fix the things, are you as a board stepping back, or are you still a, what did you call yourself? I would call you an interfering board, but you had a better term for it.
We were this board that was interfering, and actually quite annoying. And
I can imagine.
And we're happy with that.
You were happy.
Yeah, we're happy.
But are you stepping back now? Are you?
Of course. I mean, we've got it right. Dan has hired capable leaders. Why would you even be there? Even during that time, we knew that there was a line. We were not interfering. We were asking questions, and we wanted answers. And unfortunately, some people they're not used to being asked questions. They can be annoyed. We don't care. We ask questions. We continue to ask those questions. That's our responsibility as the board. But now, things have changed. We've got a team that is very strong. You have to change as the board. And now, 3 years in, you also need to ask yourself, we've got this opportunity that after 3 years, do you still need the same kind of people, or we need different people? Maybe then we had people that were able to roll up their sleeves and be there. But now, going forward, you need to be thinking strategically. We need to be taking this company into a space where it needs to be able to compete with all of these private sector companies.
I want to go from there to the future and especially the balance sheet. But I first want to come back to at the end of your very successful, not the end, at a period when you were done with your own corporate life, you wrote a book.
Yes, I did.
Betting on a darkie. He calls me out for calling him a darkie, but he calls
We are
himself a
not allowed
darkie, and
to
I'm not
say
allowed
that.
to. So he was betting on a whatever. Beep, beep, beep.
Betting on something.
Betting on something.
Then
Yeah.
I'll finish that piece, yeah.
You were betting on a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, surely this Eskom experience is going to sit and make you reflect, and there's going to be a chapter or two in your own story about your growth, your learnings, your contribution. Just sort of, if I had to force you to give us a preview, what is the next chapter of that book after your Eskom experience?
Phew. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's going to be a chapter. I think it's probably going to be a book.
Thicker than Andres.
Yeah. But of course, I'm not writing it now. It certainly will be. You know, working is such a complex thing to work in state-owned enterprises. How do you manage to get all of these things to be aligned? You know, all of the key players to be aligned. You know, it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
Managing up, you know. Managing up is not
Up
easy.
into politicians. I'm saying it, not you.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's managing up,
Yeah.
it is not. Dealing with the issues around corruption and making sure, because controls have been deliberately weakened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you have to go area by area and strengthening those controls. How do you go about doing that, you know? How do you get people of Eskom who were so down and like they did not even want to be known to be working for Eskom?
Yeah.
And now they are proud people that they are going around with their T-shirts, you know? And that is something that's positive, you know?
Yeah.
And we need people that are excited to go to work, you know, instead of not being so. So those will be the things that one would be looking at, and I'm sure people would learn a lot. And how do you make actually a state-owned enterprise to operate more like a corporate?
I've got a title for his book, Betting on a Sparky next time, not a darkie. Please, as one of your large customers, paying a fortune to Eskom, take some time, even whilst you're at Eskom, and write this damn book. Huh? No, I think it is exactly worth distilling. Now. It is complex. And I do think the early signs of a sustainable turnaround is there. Let's go to the part of, Michelle, in your business that I still worry about as a South African, which is your balance sheet. It became fashionable to do these things at state-owned enterprise level so that the government can pretend it's not their debt. We nearly drowned. Now your solution is to give me rate increases that the economy can't sustain. I mean, clearly, hier kom groot kak. We cannot
What
have
does
electricity.
that say in Zulu?
I don't know. Help me. Help me. Give it to us in some other languages.
No,
but here's
I'm
coming,
joking,
here's
I'm
coming
joking.
maracas.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
joking, yeah.
So hier kom groot kak. So the balance sheet and the price increases, something gives, and it's the economy at the moment. So what is the longer term thinking here?
So, look, our focus initially was energy security. That's what this board,
and we all signed
that's
up
what
for that.
this
Please
board
do
was
that.
like focusing on. But that's behind us now. You know, we feel that that's behind us. The next thing is, how do we make sure that we provide energy that's affordable? And that's not easy.
No.
That's not going to be easy. And what the board has agreed and decided and put as a challenge to management is that going forward, we need to have increases going forward. Not like now, going forward. We need to have increases that are in line with CPI. Single-digit increases. So that's what, you know, all industries expect, really. We cannot have double-digit increases. No, we can't. So, but to get to that, you have to take out the costs out of the business. So that's the stage we're at now. This new board that's going to be coming, the next thing that's going to be focusing with, given them a target of 112 billion rand, take those costs out of your base.
Is 112 billion
Billion.
your cost base or what you want to
No,
take
no,
out?
take out.
112 billion.
Yes.
That's bigger than Joburg City's total budget.
Yes, it is.
That's a big number.
That's a big number, yes. And we're going to be doing that over 5 years. So each year, you can see how big it is.
Sure.
You know, and that's the drive of management going forward. And most of that is it's not just the people.
No, you can't save that on people.
It's all sorts of things. It's about how we procure, are we doing it in an efficient way, the whole corruption thing, reducing and eliminating corruption as part and parcel of this. So we've signed up a partner that's working alongside with management to help them to execute this. We learned how to do this when we were doing the generation recovery plan, in South Africa, we've always got plans, great plans.
Roadmaps. We start with
Yeah,
roadmaps.
roadmaps and all of these things, but execution, not so good. So we came up with this 2-year generation recovery plan. We said we trust our leaders, our managers that are going to do this, but I think it was Ronald Reagan who said something like, trust but verify.
Yeah.
So we decided to appoint a partner that's going to be helping us to make sure that there is going to be execution of that generation recovery plan and give us early warnings if things are not happening, And the fact that we are where we are is largely linked to the discipline, because most of these things are not happening because of lack of discipline. So it is that discipline that we okay, it worked there. Even in this case, we've signed up a partner that's going to be working with management to take out the costs.
And this goes back to at this rotation of your board now after 3 years. It speaks to, and you may just need different skills at board level now.
Exactly, that was the point. That's what I meant. Initially, the skill set was around largely firefighting, but now it's really optimizing, driving productivity, taking out costs, and engaging with labor, and those are the things that are going to be required as we go forward.
People are going to hate me. I forgot that they also matter. I was having fun here talking with you. There's so many questions. So the plan to unbundle Eskom, my terminology, is an old plan. We seem to be going down a path now. It creates new conversations.
Yes.
There's not enough transmission. That
Yes.
to me sounds like a simple solution. The coal guys don't want us to solve it because they think they depend on it.
No, we need renewables, we need coal. We
Yeah,
need both. It's
I
it's
agree.
not an either or.
So transmission, that's a separate company, is it?
Yeah, we one of the things that we can say as this board we did that had been going slowly is the unbundling of the transmission company, having its own independent board, appointing that board of capable men and women and allowing them and giving them the space to go do what they need to do, which is to build this, we call it TDP, Transmission Development Plan, so building these new transmission lines.
But your own future as Eskom depends on that working. I mean, you need them to work well for you to get to your customers, no?
Yes.
And then you're building a renewable, you are
Yeah,
investing
we
into the
also,
renewable.
I mean, it was strange to get into Eskom, and then you realize that the strategy of Eskom is these old power stations, retire them, run them and retire them, then allow the private sector to get into renewables, which is great until you look deeper and say, okay, let's fast forward the strategy. 20 years down the line, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
There's no Eskom.
Yeah.
Wow. So we cannot have that. We cannot have that. That's wrong.
That's
when you
madness.
think about if you are a director, the responsibility of a director in terms of care. No, you cannot have that. So we are going to be playing big in renewables, like everybody else. Yeah.
I mean, many years ago, I got appointed to join a mining company, gold mining company, and its official strategy was closure with dignity. You can imagine.
Yeah, I'm
You
sure
can imagine how excited the 33,000 people was about
we took a
dignified
leaf
death.
out of that. Definitely.
Oh
We took
my
a-
goodness!
yeah,
Sometimes we
it's
commit
like,
madness in
let's be
corporate.
excited. You know,
Yeah.
I'm excited. Because I'm looking forward to my funeral. You know, it's like.
Yeah, I'm saying no more. It was absolute madness. Do you? Oh my God, you are very active on LinkedIn. I think they're talking to you. I'm not even on LinkedIn. Are you the one behind the powerful post, or someone doing it for you? This is a serious question.
Yeah, no, it's just me. I don't delegate that. I mean, it's like, these are my thoughts, and it's not, you know.
You won't believe people say the same to me about LinkedIn. I said, but your newsletter is at you. I said, guys, nobody else speak bad English like that. It
Yeah,
has to be me. It's clearly me. I mean, how could it be anybody else? What are you missing here?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about the critical part, not for us as big users. We connect to you directly. Everybody else connects, most people connect through local government.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Your customers are extremely irritated by a middleman. What is the longer term solution? How does Eskom help us to have available electricity at all times without blaming local government, or is that just a design error?
It is a design error, and we need to accept that, because if you do not, you need to be honest about the problem. Then you have at least a chance of solving the problem. So I think it's a design error. And the fact that the customers are paying the municipalities are choosing or forgetting to pay us, that's a problem. You know, that's a problem. And they are not investing in the infrastructure. And we now have load reduction and all of that. And of course, ultimately, we seem to be the ones who are failing, but we are not. So with this setup that we have come up with, it's called a distribution agency agreement, where we kind of like take over the management of the electricity within that municipality and help with the capex and help with the collections. And then, of course, we naturally would pay ourselves first, and then we pay the municipalities. And so all of that stuff is the stuff that we are doing, but the process of getting to that, it was through the course, which is a long process. So now, having a discussion with National Treasury, the Ministry of Electricity, and Ministry of Copter, so we feel that this is something that needs to be sorted out for electricity, and it may end up having to do it for other things. So they are going to be forcing the municipality to be going this route. It's not going to be an option. The municipalities that do not pay. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were always going to run out of time. I do apologize. I know you've had many more questions. I was abusing the privilege to have a conversation. I still wanted to ask him, when is my power cost going to come down? But it sounds like never, so we can just drop that topic. Thank you for coming to engage with, I would like to think, one of the critical customer groups in your business, and you are critical in our lives.
Yes.
Also, as a fellow South African, thank you for taking this stupid job. I mean, that was madness, but thank you for doing it. And I think we're in a better place today than 3 years ago. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.